I'll be in high school, I guess, if I didn't have those nice outfits like they.
Okay, we're live on YouTube.
Okay, thank you. Virginia.
It's
Okay.
8:48 where we're convening, or 7:48.
Okay. Do any council members have any questions for our chief? Be ready
So
to-
one thing I also wanted to say is that we did get the grant money for aggressive driving. But I don't have a plan yet to ring for the DA's office. Different ways, time frames we're gonna do it. So, but we got, it's like $3,800 for next year. For overtime with the aggressive driving, so we got that. I don't think there's anything else.
Madam President, I just want to ask Chris a
Sure.
question. The police car that we're having some bad luck with.
They're all back.
One more time, the car goes, is it back
I
online?
think back in service.
Yeah, the windshield repaired and
That was the headlight, yeah.
with the headlight, yeah.
So I think back in service, and I think JB Hunt was gonna pay us for that headlight, right?
They did.
Virginia, JB Hunt?
They did, we got the check today.
Oh, good.
Yep.
Oh,
They gave us
We're
the
all-
headlight on our
Yep.
police car.
Yeah.
So, everything else is going good. I don't, I don't think anything else needs to pass on. Yes, sir.
Yeah, it looks like the overtime was down for full-time police officers, I think your staffing is up better and stuff.
We're doing better with staffing. We have these routines once in a while that crop up. Matter of fact, I think, this Saturday we're having his grandfather died.
Oh.
So, we're keeping it too. But, we'll get that. But other than that, no, I think, everything else is, I did appoint Officer Kaiser in charge of, the dump cars. So he's gonna do the dump cars.
Oh, okay.
So he's reading over the ordinances and he's gonna make his own letterhead or something. His own, And that's that. And we have a new thing that we got from the state that was effective January 1st, that all victims have to have a packet, victims packet. And really confusing, and who gets it like this? Everybody get it for just the mailbox incident or? So Officer Kaiser did all kinds of research and called down there to the people in Harrisburg and got it all squared away. He put something up on the board, so we got clarity how this works. So we have to give them a packet. So every time someone's a victim of a certain crime, assaults, and you have to give them a packet. Explain the victim's rights and explain what their rights are and how they can get things.
Oh,
So,
Do we have anybody certified on the scales yet, or maybe we might talk to?
Officer Hall is gonna be enrolled in a class, I believe, in August. He wants to get involved in
I
this.
thought somebody was gonna do it, I was wondering why.
yeah.
And he's
Okay.
been around, from time to time with, Hank Zimmer, because Hank Zimmer is, from
Right,
South
yeah.
Abington does it. So, but South Abington doesn't have any scales, we got scales.
Mhm.
So he wants to do that, so he's been talking to the PUC guys from.
Great.
In the state police that were up there doing, and they got him, they got him in the class.
Yeah.
So, I think it's in August, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, and he wants to start doing enforcement on it, so that's a good sign.
Okay.
Great,
Nothing before August, Chris, anywhere in northeastern Pennsylvania?
I'm sorry, what was that again?
nothing before August.
I'm trying to remember when that class is. I said August, I'll get back with you. I can email you what the date was. I can't remember. It seems like August was in my head. No, these classes are hard to get into. And the best
Yeah.
to talk to is the people that teach them. And a lot of times they're up here in our area. So that's our connection. But, Officer Deming is still, he works part-time away with it. He's still certified to do it, the scale part of it.
Right.
As you know, Officer Williams, who hasn't been available, is also certified to it. But Deming, it works part-time with us. I mean, he can help us out. And then
Okay.
Paul involved in this, and I know he will, he's really into this for some reason, which is good. And I think we're gonna see some good activity out of him with this. So he's been hanging around those guys and they've been calling him and talking to him and he's been reading stuff, so I think he's gonna get involved in it, so.
Good.
Dave, I have to ask Steve, I think he's working now. With that class, I thought he said August, but maybe it's different time. I don't know, all the stuff's running in my head.
I mean, even if we had to, let them go out of the area to make the class, I think it's a sin that those scales have sat there as long as they have without our making use of them, because I'm sure we probably could have had a lot of revenue coming in and stopped a lot of overweight trucks going through town.
I think this class, though he signed up for, is out of town. I had some extra money because of the police one thing that I thought we could use that.
Yeah.
I will ask him and I'll get back with you on that date. And I'll
Okay.
email. I
All right.
can't, I thought he said August, but I could be wrong. Maybe I'm thinking of another class that they're taking. that I
Okay,
know.
all right. Thank you, Chief.
Our Kaiser is gonna be going in the third week of June for a whole week to CIT training, which I think is really, really good class. And all of our full-time officers in the past have been CIT trained, and the insurance company loves that CIT training.
Oh, yeah.
It's the crisis intervention training. So he was able, and we get reimbursed for that. So he signed up for that, I think, in the third week of January coming up. He got into a class, so. But the scale class, I could be wrong, Dave. I want to apologize. I'll find out the exact date. For some reason in August in my head, but maybe I'm wrong. I know it's this year. I don't know.
Okay,
I'll find out from him. I just can't remember what it was. He told me, but
okay, Chris. All right, thank you.
If we gotta make use of it,
yeah. We used them a couple times this year, so we used them in May and June. Before,
Good.
and we used them, I think Gordon used them one day.
Okay.
Good, okay, thank you.
may I release the chief?
I was just gonna say, looks like he's ready to take off.
Full lights.
Yeah, thank you very, that was a good report.
And I'll find out email it. I'll find out the dates. All right.
Take care.
Have a good one.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you, Chief. Okay, next item on our agenda is our bids and quotes.
There's
We
none.
don't have any. Next item is our Borough Treasury report. We have a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the Borough Treasurer's report.
Thank you, Bob. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
On the question? All in favor? All opposed? Favors have it.
Sure, I mean, it wasn't really on the question, but I do have a question.
Oh, sure.
Did we receive any response from Griffin Pond in regard to our donation?
Yes, Griffin Pond was originally scheduled to come here tonight to talk about that. And they realized that there was a board of directors meeting they needed to attend. So they're going to be at our work session to talk about it. Basically, their answer is no, thank you. They want the same amount. What if there's a hoarding situation and there's 50 animals that are brought in? And they said, what if there's none brought in? We're still willing to give it to you. And they said, if you want to give it to us $500 a month or a year, and we keep the credit if we don't use it, but they're going to come in and talk about it.
We'll let them handle it then.
Okay.
Mhm.
Virginia, do we have any idea how many animals were brought up from this borough? Let's say last year.
I'm sorry, last year
It was
was
4.
3.
That was
Oh, there was 4, but they only charged,
We
yeah,
approved
4.
$500 when they wanted
I
$440.
think in 2022, there's been 3 so far.
So we're never really very high on animals. 3,
There's
4.
just no guarantees though,
Yeah.
because
can change Well, I don't see where we have much of a choice because what else we're gonna do?
right,
Pick up the dog, they won't take it.
We'll let them come and address us. And
Well, but the problem is not us dropping animals off. It's when a resident from our borough stops in and drops the animal off, we get the bill for that. That's the problem.
they said that, if the resident is giving up their animal, then they're asked to pay for it.
Right.
But if they bring it in and it's a stray,
It's great.
But all they have to do is say it was a stray.
exactly.
Yeah.
And now that it's been made public about all these fees, I think that's more likely to happen, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And again, they said that they're using the link I set up with them to verify addresses, but I really would love an opportunity to double check them. So I'd like to, I've asked for that. They've ignored it.
So honestly, that's a good thing that they want to come to the meeting and we.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
I saw the disbursement. That's why I asked at this point. So
Yeah.
Yeah, good idea.
we'll look forward to that next month.
Well, yeah, the end of this month, actually, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, the next, is a motion for the vendor payments to be ratified.
The motion that we pay the bills.
Thank you, Renee. Do we have a second?
Oh, so.
On the question? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Favors have it 6-0. Under old business, our sewer report will be turned in.
Yes, I have an odd situation that I'm trying to get fixed. I have a tooth stuck in my sinus. We don't know exactly what's going on.
Well,
So,
that's a pretty good.
yeah,
excuse.
so I ended up being,
Gosh.
it was just rough, just a lot of pain. So, yeah, it's weird. I got a CT scan today, so
Wow.
the next thing is for them to go in and get it out. So, yeah, it's totally, anyway, just a lot of pain, a lot of discomfort through the last couple weeks of the year. So I didn't get it out, but I'll assuming everything goes, I get it out, everything's normal, then I'll get it. Hopefully, like at the end of January, I would think.
Okay. No problem.
That's it.
Most important thing is you take care of yourself.
Yeah, thank you.
And the fact of the matter is our aging is not bad.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Good, okay.
Yes.
And the next item is our our police reorganization. Jack.
Those are very different things, Jerry.
Yes, you're right.
Just a very minor update, which is I did since last meeting speak to the state's police consultant and ask for a few updates to some of the data and whatnot, which he did send to me. I now just need to dig in and digest it and then
Yeah.
sit down with Mr. Stanton from South Abington. So that's where we're at.
Okay, and again, council's aware that Dave O'Neill is gonna be retiring from South Abington, so. Hope March, but he doesn't know if he'll make it to March if he can.
Yeah, and I was speaking to him like a week ago. He said, the plan is March if I last that long. So we'll see what happens. Yeah.
So, things are at least going in a good
They're
direction.
moving slowly.
That's usually the way they go with it. So,
Indeed.
yes. And the next one is ordinance 2020-04 zoning status of SAPA.
Yeah, we talked about this a couple of months ago. We tabled it just to see what happened, to get an update. I spoke with Mary Liz Donato from Lackawanna County Planning Commission. She said that Scranton has their updated draft. They expect that it will pass without a problem. They're just going through the advertising thing. So it's going to be like another month or so before they can vote on it.
Right.
But they fully anticipate it to be done. Dunmore says the second they do it, second Scranton does it, they'll do it. They can't do it before then because they're not, it wouldn't be contiguous without that.
Right.
So once we have that, so it looks like we don't need to do anything about amendments yet. Let's wait another month or two and see where this goes.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you, Virginia.
Mhm.
Under new business, our AAJBB committee, we have George Hoser and
Greg Kozar,
Greg Hoser, but also June Burns.
June Burns, yes, they both need to, they both are, their terms expire December 31. They
Right.
both expressed interest, or Greg has expressed interest in being reappointed. June is been actively involved since before she was even on the members.
Right.
So, yeah, I would recommend that we reappoint both of them.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion that we reappoint both Greg and June Burns.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
On the question? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Favors have it.
Okay, same story on the Civil Service Commission. Dave Jones's term expired at the end of the end of December. He has been on this commission. Well, I'm with the borough 18 years. He was on it before I started, so I have no idea how long he's been on it, but he's been on it forever, and he is interested in staying on it, so I would.
Who's that,
suggest-
Virginia?
Dave Jones.
Oh, okay.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve Dave Jones?
I'll move to approve Dave Jones for the Civil Service Commission.
Thank you,
I'll
Jess.
second that.
Second by Dave. On the question, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, papers have it 6-0.
And planning commission, another scenario like I just talked about with Dave Jones, I'm here 18 years. Ed Yashinskis was on there years before I even started. And he is I think he's an integral member at this point of the planning commission. I'd like to, he wants to be reappointed. I'd like to ask council to do so.
I'll make a motion, we reappoint Ed Jasenskis.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Ron. On the question, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, papers have it 6-0. And the next is our Shade Tree Commission with Sally Mahady and Dave Gaspar. They're both interested in staying on this Shade Tree.
Actually, the issue with that is I did not get a response from either of them.
Okay,
But I also have nobody else to suggest, so I don't know if we want to table this and see if we can find somebody, or if we want to go ahead and reappoint them and.
I would suggest that we reappoint them and let them know that we did reappoint them tonight. And then if they do want to drop down, then we can.
Who were the two names again?
Sally Mahady and Dave Gaspar.
I'll make a motion, we reappoint them.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Ron. On the question,
I was waiting.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, papers have it 6-0. Solicitors report,
There's your reward.
I don't have anything additional. And
I think you did enough work already.
Those are the best.
Thank you. Under correspondence,
The only correspondence we have is Mr. Senefont is asking, Junction Ave has one-way signs. And he is asking that we remove the one-way signs. Now, Junction Ave is partially owned by the borough and partially owned by him. So I don't care what he does on his. As far as the borough is concerned, though, I did some research and I can't find any ordinance that we use to put up a one-way sign. Nor do I know for a fact, none of the guys on the crew remember doing so. But David mentioned that he was concerned about the width of Junction, and I did speak to Sue over at the engineer's office.
Yeah.
Legally, it could be two ways. It's narrow, but you know, there are narrow roads
it's
out
a
there
dead
that are
end,
two
it's a
way.
dead end anyway.
It's not really, it turns into private property. And the
Right,
only people that would
okay.
use it are the people that live in the townhouses behind Junction, and that's where they go. They get off on Junction and then pull into their townhouses.
Right,
But apparently somebody's been covering over the one-way sign. And we've been taking this cover off and they're putting it on. So now they're putting in a formal request.
I'd like to make a motion that we keep it one way on the sign, signage that's already up there. And let Mr. Senefont know that it's a safety issue. That the one-way street is that way for a reason.
would this be a liability on our part if we took the sign down?
I feel like it opens us up.
Pardon?
I feel like it makes us susceptible if something God forbid happens now and we. remove
I
that
would
sign.
agree with this conversation. I feel like we're almost making ourselves liable. On the other
Right.
hand, like I said, I did verify that according to PennDOT standards, that road could be two ways if they wanted. There are narrower roads that are two-way.
But you haven't found an ordinance?
No, and I didn't find an ordinance showing that we legally
Yeah,
put it. What my suggestion would be is since don't take down the sign, but don't enforce it.
And that's the only street in the borough that goes to a private property,
Right.
as far as I'm aware.
Right.
okay, yeah. I would go with your recommendation on that, Virginia.
I'm just concerned, I mean, we don't have an ordinance, I mean, like, why?
Make an ordinance.
You enforce it anyway,
No
then.
record.
There are,
I mean, is all other paperwork, you just lose paper along the way, or?
there's supposed to be an ordinance every time you
that's
do something like that, and I couldn't find any record of it. If there's paper, I wouldn't even know where to begin, how many years ago this has
So
happened.
we're not saying that there isn't an ordinance, just so we can't.
No, we're saying there is not an ordinance.
But you
I
found-
don't know if there's been a discussion. Yes, no, I know that there's not an ordinance. I did check the ordinance book and there is not one. But that's also no surprise. I know with the town I live in, there are stop signs that would never have been legally allowed to be put in. They don't meet PennDOT standards, but the town didn't know. And they
Right.
put them in, and I'm sure that, this easily been a group that thought that they didn't need an ordinance to do it.
But what if Mr. Centofanti decides to go to court over it, says, like I don't want this, there's stop sign, or says he's my property or whatever.
The stop sign would be on our property. I mean,
Is it on our
the
side?
one-way sign is on our property. So I don't care what he does with his property, but we own a section of road that then goes in. It becomes a private lane when it goes through the townhouses. And then it exits out it comes off a division and then exits on Marion. So there's only about a 70-foot length of junction that we own.
Yeah.
My take, I just take it down. I mean, if you're not gonna enforce it, just why even bother with it?
I think we're gonna have a safety issue if we take it down, Bob. I disagree with you. I think we're better off to leave it up there. The people that have been living there are used to it being there. Just because Mr. Centofanti doesn't like it, every time something goes on that he doesn't like, he comes to us and he wants us to take care of his issues for him. I think that's a lot of bull.
I don't see how
I think
one conveniencing him.
Well, so
that's correct. I think we're just better off to leave it up there.
should
And,
we cross our Ts here and pass an ordinance that,
Maybe this should be open to like the specific issue put on the agenda, and maybe the neighbors would have some comment as to why it
Okay,
is or
so
isn't
why don't we
a safety benefit to have.
Why don't we
it.
talk about this more at the work session?
Okay.
We'll have it advertised on the agenda and then we can make a vote next month whether we want to move forward with an ordinance or take it down or whatever.
Because then you can get feedback from residents. to see what
Okay.
they-
Yeah.
we
That sounds
should
good.
either take it down or codify it.
Right.
Virginia, just out of curiosity, if it's borough property, why would we need an ordinance?
Why would what?
Why would we need the ordinance if it's borough property?
It's right away. It's public property. It's just like any other road in town. Any road that you want to make one way, any stop signs that you want to put down, any parking meters you want to put up,
Right.
all of those have to be done by ordinance.
Yeah.
They're not enforceable if you don't have the ordinance to back it.
Okay, so those signs are up there.
Somebody put them, we don't even,
Years
like I said, our
ago.
crew doesn't even remember putting them up. I don't know where they came from.
I believe there's only one-way sign up there.
There's one at the beginning and there's one at the end,
Oh, okay. I didn't see the one at the end. Okay,
property.
I stand corrected.
Okay. All right. So we're tabling this.
Okay. And does any council members have any information they'd like to?
Jerry, I have a question on that insurance check that we got. What are we deciding we're gonna do with that? Ronnie had a good idea on what fund to put that in. I agree with that.
I'm sorry, I didn't even think about that. I just sent an email out the other day.
I suggested to put it maybe in the capital reserve account.
Pardon?
Yep.
I suggested to put in the capital reserve account.
Do you want to make that a motion?
Well, the thing of it is, Ronnie, if something comes up, we have to be careful when we take it out of that capital reserve.
Capital reserve,
That would be our only caveat.
it's a little bit of semantics because there are any number of purchases that we make out of our general fund that could be tagged as capital purchases. So, I mean, if we put it in the capital reserve and then we need it in the general fund, all we have to do is say these other things are capital reserve purchases and, reimburse ourselves that way.
So is it
That's the
feasible to
only
put in
legal-
the general fund, or
Pardon?
is it feasible to put in the general fund, or did we want to just have the finance committee make a suggestion of which account was best for?
I think the last check we got, we put in the capital reserve fund also.
But I
I think
mean,
we did.
personnel expenses wouldn't be, that would be capital reserve.
No, no, But-
And we have issues with our lights on State Street where we got in touch with an electric contractor to come and straighten it out. Walsh Electric is coming. So we don't know what the numbers are gonna be on
Well, this
that.
is the beginning of the year with all the budgets. We shouldn't have any issues right now with it. So I think we're safe to put it in capital reserves rather than try to put it in the general fund so early in the year. If we put it in the general fund, it's just gonna go willy-nilly. Before we know it, it'll be gone.
I just like us to have a secure cushion. And I think
I
if we
would.
put it there, it forces us to have the secure cushion, as Dave is saying, rather than having what we think is like free money to
But-
just.
we're 4 days into an agenda that was balanced.
Yeah,
That we reasonably expected to be balanced, therefore theoretically, we don't need that money.
yeah.
That's fine with me. I'm fine with putting it in capital reserves.
Motion?
A motion that we, well, I mean, I don't even remember the amount, I'm
I
sorry.
forget it was 22,000 and change, I believe.
I'll second that motion.
Okay.
Okay, there we go.
Okay.
Thank you.
We need to vote on it.
Oh, we don't need to vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm against it, nay.
Yeah,
Bob, what do you think?
actually, I'm against it too, because my
Okay,
concern is I'm
4-2.
afraid we may have some issues that come up over the year and we're not gonna be able to take the money out of that fund. That would be my only caveat
Okay.
on that. But.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Jerry's just got to read about the executive sessions for the record.
Okay,
And then
we had none prior during. Or personnel during, and then subsequent none, so. And 25 years ago today was when my house burned down to the ground. 4:30 in the morning. What a wake up call, huh?
Yeah.
Jeez, January.
Well, we got
no,
on with our life and. So now. We have the newest house on the block.
So Bob, did you want to repeat that motion?
Yes, I beat Ronnie to that kind
Yeah,
of
it's
promotion
okay.
to adjourn. You can second it. Ronnie.
Bob was ahead of me too.
All right, and it is
Right, that's
8:17. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Curtis place and stuff like that.